Well, it's the end of another academic year, another competition year for us. And again, the Gulf South Conference showed that it's one of the best, if not the best, Division II conference in the entire nation. We had 10 active members in the Gulf South Conference this year, with Union and Shorter coming on board as active members through their reclassification process. And you know that all 10 institutions sent at least one team to NCAA regional play this year. That's amazing depth that you don't see anywhere else in the nation among the 24 conferences. And that's a credit to the work that our conference has done, selecting and adding new institutions which match our profile, where we're going to compete, we're going to impact, and we're going to graduate our student athletes in the Gulf South Conference. My name is Matt Wilson. I'm the commissioner. This is my second opportunity to stand up here. Last year we had our inaugural Hall of Fame class enter, where we had 10 inductees come in, and tonight we get the privilege of learning a little bit more about and honoring 5 new inductees to the Gulf South Conference Hall of Fame. So I'm excited that we're here. So on behalf of the 12 institutions that comprise the Gulf South Conference and our 2 associate members, I welcome you, and I'm very glad you're here. Let me start off by thanking our Hall of Fame committee. The process for this is there's a nomination process from the local institutions, and then a Hall of Fame committee spends a lot of time evaluating and trying to determine, and I know it is not an easy job to pick 5 out of the several nominations that we receive. When they're that good, it's hard to, you're really trying to separate things, and you wish you could take in 8, 9, 10 every single year, but we're honored with the 5. So our Hall of Fame committee this year, not with us tonight, is the chair of the board of directors for the Gulf South Conference, Dr. John Smorelli from Christian Brothers, Dr. Kent Wyatt, retired CEO from Delta State, Mitch Gray from West Georgia, not here with us this evening, Dr. Pat Roden, the FAR from North Alabama, Janet Montgomery, Associate Athletic Director and SWA from West Alabama, and Permanent Championships Committee Chair and final member of our Hall of Fame committee from Valdosta State, Director of Athletics, Herb Reinhardt. Well, tonight's going to be a great night. You're not here to hear from me. We've got some people that have come that want to share some warm regards for our inductees, and then we're going to hear from our inductees. I'd like to start off by asking Dr. E.J. Brophy to join us on the stage and talk a little bit about our first Hall of Fame inductee, Jim Harris. So, E.J.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. I was thinking as I was preparing to talk tonight, I have followed 2 Hall of Famers to 2 Gulf South Conference institutions. Last year, D. Outlaw was inducted from the University of West Alabama. I was his successor in Livingston, and now I've followed the great Jim Harris to UAH. I was his successor. Then I was thinking about maybe the next stop. I like the beach. I like the water. So I think I'm going to, when Dave Scott goes in the Hall of Fame in 2025, I'm going to go ahead and take over in Pensacola, and when Dave goes into the Hall of Fame. So, Dave, keep the seat warm for me, please. This is my 10th year in the Gulf South Conference. And I remember very vividly coming into the conference, the very first meeting we had in June. I remember being put into a small group activity with Donna Crone from Christian Brothers and Jim Harris. I was immediately very impressed with them both, especially Jim, his experience, the way he communicated, very strong person, very good leader, very quality human being. And I was very impressed from the start, and we became pretty good friends right off the bat, and I was very impressed with him. It's been hard over the last 10 years. When I came in a decade ago, I was the new guy. And after 10 years, you know, we've lost some giants. We really have. We lost Jay Adcox from Southern Arkansas. We lost Joe Natexburn from Christian Brothers, and then we lost Jim Harris from UAH. You can't replace these kind of people as human beings, and you can't replace them as administrators. They're so valuable. They're so good. They're so genuine, and it's hard. It's very, very difficult. And it's been difficult for me to follow Jim, to be quite frank. You know, coming into his office, when I followed D, I could go up the hallway and ask him a question. I could, you know, call him on the cell phone when he was usually on the golf course and ask him a question, that type of thing. But it was a very different dynamic following Jim, because coming into his office and trying to make it my own and filing things and so forth, you would find a project that was halfway done, or I'd find something that I'd need to send over personally to his wife April, who's here tonight, who's a fantastic administrator at UAH in her own right. And it's been difficult. It's been hard. But it's also made it easier for me in that projects like our new baseball, softball, soccer stadium that Jim was this close to having built and laid down all the groundwork for, we carried that on and made his dream in that area become reality. So it's always hard to follow somebody that's great, and it's been hard for me. It really has. His accomplishments are on the board. So many conference championships, so many Coach of the Year awards, 4 softball teams going to the College World Series, 2 national championships in hockey, and Jim was a driving force behind all of that. Very good, very strong, tempestuous, but a man, and always doing what was best for student athletes. And I really respect that and really appreciate that very much, and did a great job of leading his staff, leading the administrators, and helping young people. I'm honored every day to sit in the chair that he sat in, but I'll say this, and I've been saying this for 4 years, and I mean it. Nothing would make me feel better than if Jim Harris was still the athletic director at UAH. But that's not going to happen. We lost him too soon, a magnificent human being, a great person, and a great leader in this conference. And we miss him in Huntsville. We really do. And it's my great privilege and honor to say these things about him tonight. And also it's an honor for him deservedly to be in the Hall of Fame, and I know in the Gulf South Hall of Fame, and I know that his wife April's here tonight and going to accept the award on his behalf. So I hope you'll give a large round of applause to Hall of Famer Jim Harris.
Thank you very much. I can't tell you how pleased and proud I am to accept this award on behalf of Jim. You know, before we came to the Gulf South Conference, we always worked for big Division I schools: Bowling Green State University, Ohio State University, Rice University, Utah State University. The thing is, what Jim's list of accomplishments didn't show you is that Jim's dream was always to be an athletics director, but not an athletics director at a big Division I school. He wanted to work in Division II. And the reason why, he strategized to become an AD in Division II. The reason why, because he truly believed that the greatest gift that a student athlete could have was the right to use her or his athletics ability to earn a college education. Believe that every single day. So I stayed behind in Utah while we sold our house and kind of put things in order. Jim was recruited to come to UAH to be the AD, and I was anxiously waiting at home to get the call. How'd the first day go? Phone, this is before cell phones, 1995. So the call came, and the voice on the other end is choked with emotion, and I hear tears, and I think, uh-oh, what happened? What went wrong? The thing is, that emotion was pride, and it was just sheer joy to actually become one of you. It was his dream come true. So thank you very much for remembering his contributions, and I really appreciate it.
And those are the kind of stories why we like gathering tonight, right? It's great stuff. Thank you, April, for sharing that story with us. We'll all be able to take that away with us. I appreciate that. Our next Hall of Fame award winner is a basketball coach who many of you have known and seen and get some work done on the court before. And giving you a little bit of information, a little background, introducing our next Hall of Fame candidate, Ed Murphy. He's going to be the current Director of Athletics at West Georgia, Darrell Dickey.
That's a great picture, Ed. That's fantastic. Ed at work. Good evening. Congratulations to all the inductees and award winners here tonight. It's a real pleasure for me to represent the University of West Georgia and to introduce to you and to reintroduce to a lot of people in this room Coach Ed Murphy. Coach Murphy is a longtime face around the Gulf South Conference. Coach spent 21 seasons as a men's basketball coach around the Gulf South Conference. He had stops at West Alabama, Delta State, and at West Georgia. Coach Murphy ended his career with 14 years as the head basketball coach and 16 years as the athletic director at the University of West Georgia. Over the years, Coach Murphy became the winningest basketball coach in the Gulf South Conference history with 399 career wins. And is the only coach in the history of our conference to win championships, regardless of sport, at 3 different institutions, conference championships in our conference. Coach Murphy also coached in 10 NCAA tournaments, 7 at the University of West Georgia. While at West Georgia, he led his team to the Elite 8 in 2002. Coached a total of 6 Gulf South Conference Players of the Year. He's a 3-time Conference Coach of the Year. And Ed and Miss Shelley, his wife, is with us today, still reside in Carrollton. They are accomplished in another art. Miss Shelley is a master gardener, is known around our county and in West Georgia for her ability to garden, and Ed every day is out in his garden as well. During basketball seasons, you can find Coach Murphy across the court sitting, watching and pulling for West Georgia. So, Ed, congratulations to you, and again, it's an honor for me to be able to introduce you as an inductee from the University of West Georgia. Ed, come up and say a word. Thank you.
Well, first of all, the person that I owe the most to in this room is my wife, Shelley, who we've been married 51 years, and she raised 3 children, good kids, by herself, because I was out coaching basketball or recruiting or whatever. So and it was the best day I ever had was the day that we decided to spend our lives together. It was nice to see Dr. Wyatt here. I had a really good experience with him. He was the president of Delta State when I was there, and we had a lot of success for about 3 years, and then I was interviewed at Ole Miss. And I got back from Ole Miss, and I was in my office fooling around, and he called over, and he said, come on over here, I want to talk to you before you take that job. So I went over to see him, And, you know, if you ever want to find out what you're worth, this is what you do to a college president. So I went over there, and I was talking to him, and he had a sheet of paper down. He had these numbers written on it, and he looked at me and he said, what are they going to pay you at Ole Miss? And I told him. And he jumped up and ran around the desk and said, Murph, I want to wish you the best of luck. So that's the way you can find out what you're worth. You know, it was nice of Darrell not to mention the fact that I did get fired at Ole Miss, which is part of coaching. But I remember, you know, when you think back on the wins and the great seasons and the great players and all that, but sometimes you think about the down part. You think about the day you got fired. And I had something really humorous happen to me the day I got fired at Ole Miss, if you can think that's funny. But at any rate, I'd been told that I had another year on my contract and everything was all right and I could coach another year. And I had a player in my office. And I know that those of you that know me will find this very hard to believe, but I was yelling at this kid. I was really, really upset. God makes every third kid like this. If you've got 3 kids, you got 1 kid like this. If he had if he made a B or an A, he'd be mad because he could have partied some more and made a C. You know, that kind of a kid. And so I was yelling at him about missing class and all this other stuff. And my secretary came in and said, Murph, the AD wants to see you. And I told him, I said, don't you move. Don't you go to the men's room. Don't you breathe. I'm not done with you. I'll be right back. And I went down the hall and got fired, and I never knew what the hell happened to that kid. I heard he went to law school. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's the way it went. Listen, thank you so much for this. This is great, and I appreciate it so much. And you know, most of the stuff up there, all you got to do is be old, and you can win some games if you go coach enough of them. But I did. I owe a lot to my players and to my assistant coaches, and everybody's a part of this. And I really felt funny about coming down here because I've gotten so much out of coaching, and I don't feel good about being in the spotlight individually. But my players, and particularly my son, and different assistant coaches, and Mike Cooney and everybody talked me into this, and my wife said that I had to come down, so the way you stay married for 51 years is just keep quiet and take orders. So thank you so much. This isn't as bad as it looks. Great job. Congratulations.
I don't always stand on my tiptoes when I'm next to Coach Murphy. Always stand on my tiptoes. Thanks for those stories, Coach Murphy, and congratulations again. And thank you for helping convince him to join us this evening. So, next up in our Hall of Fame inductee ceremony tonight is former head baseball coach of Valdosta State, Tommy Thomas, and we're going to welcome Herb Reinhardt, athletic director from Valdosta State, to come share a few words.
I think it's a plot to make me follow Ed. Me too. I've had the opportunity. Hall of Fames are only as good as the individuals that are inducted, and I hope that the Gulf South Conference years from now will continue to have a strong, viable Hall of Fame because we select individuals that are Hall of Fame worthy. And not everybody's a Hall of Famer. But the class that we inducted last year certainly was, and this year's class is also. So I had the pleasure of either working with or watching, everybody that's in this class, and congratulations. Well deserved. My job is to introduce Coach Thomas. Without a doubt, one of the most accomplished college baseball coaches in the history of the game. Tommy's just over 1,300 wins, ranks him second in Division II in career wins and 18th among all NCAA coaches in career wins. In 2006, he was inducted into the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He was the baseball coach at Valdosta State for 40 years. But two things when I think of Tommy Thomas, and Tommy and I have been together now for about 24 years. Two things. Number one, my son had the opportunity during his elementary school years to serve as the Blazer baseball bat boy. And he spent lots of hours with the Blazer baseball team and lots of hours with Tommy. And Tommy meant and means a great deal to that young man's life. Made a big mark on his life. And that is something that I will always be appreciative of. I did have a conversation with my son one night after he told me about, I don't remember if it was the activities associated with a practice or with a game, but I did call him aside and say, there are some things that you hear that we're not going to talk about in front of your mom. And he still reminds me of that. The second thing, and this is the thing I really want you all to understand. Tommy Thomas is one of the finest baseball coaches that the good Lord ever put on this earth. He has touched the lives of thousands of young men. All right? Tremendously accomplished baseball coach. But he is a far, far, far better man than he is a baseball coach. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Tommy Thomas.
Yes, it's getting that time. Ed, I understand. I want to thank all of you. And Matt, you said you didn't begin this, but you sort of have cultivated it. The beginning of an Hall of Fame in the Gulf South Conference, I think, will only make the Gulf South Conference that much stronger. So I thank all of you for including me. Congratulations to all the other recipients. And I will say this, I had the privilege of working on a lot of committees in baseball, the National Baseball Committee for Division II, so forth, and we had to judge quite a few other conferences. And I have said this, I didn't wait for tonight. I've said this all along for a lot of years. So I will say it to all of you Gulf South Conference folks 8 years removed from me. We are probably the most organized, well-run conference that I certainly have observed. Congratulations for that, because I have observed other conferences, at least in baseball. So for that, I congratulate all of you. As a baseball man, I have to quote one of my idols in baseball, Lou Gehrig. A paraphrase. Standing here before you tonight, I consider myself one of the most fortunate people on the face of the earth. And that fortune, that good fortune, started long before I entered into the Gulf South Conference. My family, 15 years as a baseball coach before we ever got to the Gulf South Conference in 1982, and right on up to now. And the reason why I'm so fortunate is, one, my mentor who coached me, and I was the only guy that showed up for practice one day, so he said, if we ever get an assistant in baseball, I'm going to hire you. I was sure glad I didn't go to a big lake south of town like all the other players did that day. So if it wasn't for Billy Grant, whom we've named our field after, I wouldn't have this job. I wouldn't have had it for 40 years. And I agree with you, Ed. Thank you for that picture, too, by the way. Those things are longevity. And I thank the Lord for all the years that I could just keep going, and Herb and my other athletic directors for not firing me. But I have worked with so many good people, and let's talk about in the Gulf South Conference, starting with all the commissioners, were a pleasure to work with. I even got along with Nate Salant. My late dad and I had a lot of good times with Nate. And we consider him one of our good friends. Of course, my dad is gone now. My dad was well known, by the way, more well known than I was as in the circles of the baseball world in the Gulf South Conference. Ask any coach, ask all the fans. Those of you who didn't get to know him or observe him, you missed something. So we're grateful for all that. And I've said this so often, when you retire, you get an opportunity to go here and you go there, that while I appreciate this wonderful, wonderful award, and any other award that I might have had, and any other, or any number of wins that we might have had, any kind of championships that we might have had, the thing I cherish the most, and I say this with the greatest sincerity, are the friendships made along the way. That is more important than any of this. For example, tomorrow morning, I'm going to have breakfast with a former player who played for me in my very first 2 years, 1968-69. I'm going to have breakfast with him. We have maintained a friendship for that long, and he lives in Destin. And before I leave here, I'd like to introduce, you shouldn't have to get up, but thank my dear, dear, beloved friend, Mary Kay Corbett, who came with me to keep me awake and to help me find this place, and that was not easy. So I leave you with another quote from a great baseball player, not necessarily my idol, but I liked him, Dizzy Dean. This may not be the greatest award I've ever received, but it sure is amongst them. Thank you.
So according to Coach Thomas and Coach Murphy, if you hang around long enough, you got a shot at one of these things. So just remember that. And Dave, I don't know if you're doing the math, but I don't know if 2025 is a retirement date or not. EJ's going to help you out with that a little bit later. Next up, we get an opportunity to recognize North Alabama women's volleyball player Rachel Price Bell. As a father of a young daughter, it always makes me happy to be able to recognize and honor people that came along and did it when, you know, quite frankly, there may not have been as many opportunities as there was others. So you all serve as an inspiration for me and my family. My wife's a former college basketball player. We really appreciate what people did to help get us to the point today where you see the unbelievable exposure and recognition and opportunities for women athletics. And there's a long list of folks, and I appreciate you all joining that. We're going to start, but I'm going to ask Todd Vardaman to come up and join us as he tells us a little about Rachel Price Bell.
I'll take that. Whoever started that, I appreciate that. I get the privilege to introduce actually two young ladies, and as I read the information in the bio about those two, you'll think, well, he's just repeating himself. But these two ladies, their accomplishments, when you use the terminology student-athlete, these two young ladies epitomize that phrase because they have accomplished everything you could possibly imagine in the area of a student and an area of an athlete. And, you know, when I started working at UNA in 1993 in sports information, my knowledge, if I said my knowledge of volleyball, if I used the word limited, would be an understatement. I knew bump, set, and spike. That's it. 3 years later, when these two young ladies came on our campus, it changed my knowledge. And I had the privilege of watching them play for 4 years and how they impacted our university. But first, Rachel Price Bell, one of the most honored student athletes in the Gulf South Conference and Division II history. She was a 4-year starter for UNA volleyball team from 1996 to 1999 and helped lead the Lions to a combined 156-22 record in 4 years. UNA won 4 straight GSC championships, made 4 straight NCAA Division II tournament appearances, and won 2 NCAA regional championships. She is one of just 8 UNA student athletes all time to have earned both academic All-America honors and as well as All-American honors. She was an AVCA All-American pick in 1998 and 1999 and was also the COSIDA Academic All-America selection as a junior and senior. A 2-time All-GSC and All-GSC tournament selection, she was also a 3-time All-South Central Region pick, twice named South Region All-Tournament team, and was the MVP of the 1999 South Region Tournament. She was also an academic All-GSC honoree and COSIDA Academic All-District pick in 1997, 98, and 99. She also served on the UNA Student Athlete Advisory Committee and volunteered with the Special Olympics. She received the Gulf South Conference Commissioner's Trophy in 1999 and 2000 and was also named NCAA Division II Conference Commissioners Association National Female Scholar Athlete of the Year in 2000. In all, she played in a school record 593 games, 178 matches, and had 1,539 kills. She earned a bachelor's degree in physics and general chemistry, bachelor's of science in physics and general chemistry degree from UNA, graduating summa cum laude with a 3.99 GPA, and was awarded the Keller Key as the outstanding graduate in the class of 2000. Rachel was awarded the NCAA Postgraduate Scholarship in 2000 and went on to earn her PhD in biomedical engineering from Purdue University. While at Purdue, she was again recognized as the top student in her class, receiving the Geddes Loffman Great Batch Award. She currently is employed as a clinical project manager at Med Institute Incorporated in West Lafayette, Indiana, and continues to be involved in community service and mentoring women's groups. She was inducted into the UNA Athletic Hall of Fame in 2011 in her first year of eligibility. And in 2014, she was selected as one of the Gulf South Conference representatives on the NCAA Division II 40th anniversary team. And today she has one more Hall of Fame title, and that's GSC Hall of Fame. Rachel Price Bell.
Thank you for all those nice words. I didn't realize what an established group of people we were getting inducted with today. I am so impressed with the lifetime of service that the rest of the inductees have provided to the GSC. It's kind of amazing to be involved with this group of people, and I'm very thankful. I think there's a lot of things that have been said already today that really resonated with me. Like Ed said, he's not used to being recognized individually. I think Todd has mentioned several accomplishments, but every one of them, I think, was more of when we were at UNA, it was a team effort, and I'm grateful that I was recognized individually, but I do want to make sure that everyone understands that this was because our team really bonded, and we made the friendships that were mentioned as well. It's a lasting these are lasting relationships that we've had our whole life. I'm lucky to have my sister here with me through every step of the way. I think that's a unique experience. Clearly not everyone gets to experience, but it's something that I am grateful for, and we talk about on a regular basis. Being able to come to this and be inducted at the same time is very rewarding, and it makes a huge impact on my life. Thank you so much. The other thing I wanted to mention was, April, you had said that Jim really had said that the reason why he wanted to get into Division II sports is because it focuses on not only the sports aspect, but also the academics for the athletes in Division II. And at the time, I'm not sure that I was necessarily as aware of that as I am now, how lucky I was to have the focus be able to be not only on sports, but also on academics. And that was very important to me. It's always been important to me. Academics has been important to me. Sports has been important to me. And was really able to thrive in the environment that North Alabama and the GSC was able to give to me. So I have to say again, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I have to thank all of you here tonight for allowing me to be here. It's been a wonderful ride, and thank you for the award.
I should have said this may be the first time in all the time I've known Rachel and Rhonda that I actually really knew which one was which. When they were student athletes, one wore number 7, one wore number 8. As long as they had jerseys on, I was good. But if I ever saw them in the hallway, I just guessed. And usually it was wrong, but I tried. Rhonda Price Brindley is also one of the most honored student athletes in GSC and Division II history. She was a 4-year starter on University of North Alabama volleyball teams from 1996 through 99. They combined the 156 and 22 record, 4 straight Gulf South Conference championship, 4 straight appearances in the Division II tournament, and 2 NCAA regional championships. Her 2,550 career kills ranked second in Division II history when she ended her career, and she set 15 individual UNA records. She's also one of just 8 UNA student athletes all time to have earned both All-American and Academic All-America honors. She was an AVCA All-American pick in 1997 and earned COSIDA Academic All-America honors in 97 and 99. She was the recipient of the Gulf South Conference Commissioner's Trophy in 1998 and was the Alabama Sports Writers Association State Small College Athlete of the Year in 1997. Rhonda was an All-GSC Conference selection and All-Gulf South Conference tournament pick 4 straight years from 96 to 1999 and was also first-team All-South Region and All-South Region tournament 4 straight years. She was an academic All-GSC honoree in 1997, 98, and 99 and was selected the COSIDA Academic All-District team in 1997 and 1999. She received 8 GSC Player of the Week honors during her career and was GSC East Division Freshman of the Year in 96, was GSC Tournament MVP in 1997, and the Coach GSC Player of the Year in 1997. She was ABCA National Player of the Week on October 5th in 1997 and set an NCAA Division II record for career kill attempts with 6,091 and attempts in a 4-game match with 81. She also set 6 school records and 5 GSC records. Following her graduation from UNA, she was awarded an NCAA postgraduate scholarship in 2000. Rhonda went on to graduate from Indiana University School of Medicine and also did her residency at the Indiana University School of Medicine. She's employed by Associated Anesthesiologist in Fort Wayne, Indiana. She was inducted into the UNA Athletic Hall of Fame in 2011, also in her first year of eligibility. In 2014, she joined her sister Rachel as the GSC's female representative on the Division II 40th anniversary team. And today she is a Gulf South Conference Hall of Famer, Rhonda Price Brindley.
Thank you. And these pictures are wonderful. I actually wasn't going to talk about my day today, but it kind of goes with my theme of my speech of how everything's meant to be. I just wanted to kind of say that this morning, well, last night I was on call, so I worked from 7 a.m. till 5:30 this morning working on traumas, car wrecks, etc., doing anesthetics on those people. So at 5:30 I got home this morning, took a shower, laid down for a half hour before I had to get up for my I thought 8:40 flight, but unfortunately it was 8:20. So on my way to the airport, I find this out as I'm driving and looking at my phone. Not a good plan. Called my husband at 7:20, which is exactly the time where you can check in, and said, I can't get on my phone. Can you check me in? So he checks me in. God love him. And then as he's checking me in, then I check as I get to the airport. And I look at my phone and it says Rhonda Brinley, but Rhonda has 2 A's. So I'm hoping that nobody notices when I go through security that I must have put something wrong in the computer. Luckily, I made it there. I made it here with a big sigh of relief until, as I was catching up on my sleep here, about 6 p.m., somebody says I'm supposed to be here a half hour ago. So I guess it was meant to be that we got here today. I'm sorry that it was a little bit convoluted, but this has kind of been my whole theme throughout our whole lives as far as volleyball. We actually, Rachel and I, we played very well in high school, but we had a very good conference there too. So we never made it to state. We always made it to regionals, and we weren't highly recruited. Our coach in high school actually went to Wayne State to play tennis. Well, she was very good at trying to help us get scholarships and trying to help us get to a collegiate level playing. Well, luckily, one of the volleyball coaches, 2 of them, who had previously been at Wayne State, now we're coaching at UNA, and they actually made they let us come down. We tried out. They liked us. Plus, we did very well academically, so we did pretty well on the scholarship end, and they didn't have to use as much scholarship money. And so that is how we actually made it to UNA to begin with. And we have just been so lucky that throughout this time period, it was just, like I said, it was meant to be, where we had great coaches, great friends. I met my husband. We have 4 beautiful children, and we've gone on to not only do well during collegiate volleyball, but also academically, and then afterwards, it prepared us with all of our lives as far as doing well in medical school and doing well afterwards. So I cannot thank enough UNA, the Gulf South Conference, whom I have truly been honored to be a part of, and really honored to be getting this award today. I just thank you all, thank them, and really appreciate that this was meant to be. So thank you very much.
Another great class of inductees for the Gulf South Conference. I'm excited to have met those of you that I had not met previously. Excited to hear a little bit about your stories. You know, when I leave these things, I remember some stories. I won't necessarily remember the 399 wins that Ed had and the 40 years that Tommy coached and the 4,000 kills that the Rachel and Rhonda combined for, and I won't remember Jim's long journey to get to Alabama Huntsville necessarily, but I'll remember Rachel and Rhonda talking about teammates and the opportunity to compete with each other, and the opportunity that North Alabama gave them to do something that they loved and set them up for a career where they're now impacting people every day, and we're really proud and thankful for you all representing us. I'll remember that Tommy's going to go tomorrow and have breakfast with a player that he's known for a long, long time, and that he can make an impact even on a young bat boy that'll change his life trajectory. I'll remember Jim's emotional phone call to April. I'll take that away. And then Ed, I'll often think about the kid that may still be sitting in the basketball office at Ole Miss. But those are the kind of things I'll take away from us. One other great thing I get to do is I get to say some thank you. So obviously, thank you again to the Hall of Fame Committee. Thank you to the inductees for making time, joining us, Destin may not be the easiest place to get to, but I'm glad you're here, and I hope you can enjoy a little bit of it while you're here. I want to thank our staff. They put together the great slideshow. Mike and Michael and Leighton and Andrea did a lot of work to make sure the reception and meeting space was great tonight, so I thank them. Sean Sullivan, we've borrowed from West Florida to put this on live stream, so those family and friends that couldn't be here could hopefully participate as well. So I want to thank them with a round of applause. Again, and last thing, thank you to all of you who are currently working really hard every single day to make sure the Gulf South Conference is as good a place as it can be, that our student athletes have the best experience possible. I'm privileged to get to work for each one of you. And inductees, I hope we get to see you back at another ceremony sometime soon where you get to watch the next class that follows you. So thank you, and I hope you all have a great evening.